Um, As you can tell, public speaking is not my strong suit. Thank you for being patient. But before I start, I would like to actually, hopefully not embarrass too much, two beautiful ladies. Jerry Nedland, if you'd please stand. Please. Thank you. And Miss Stephanie Powell. Sorry. So my mother and one of my beautiful instructors, and I thought very fitting that the reason I'm presenting these words is being open in the LGBT community, but I would not be able to do so without wonderful support from ladies such as these. Thank you very much. And I'd like round of and everyone else here, it's like I find it wonderful that, you know, everyone says I'm strong, and the only reason I am strong because I have beautiful, beautiful people supporting me. Thank you, everybody. Thank you. Everyone, give yourself a round of applause, please. Thank you. And I guess what I'm really trying to say is that the only reason that I can do what I do and realize that I can be myself and that I'm safe being myself is places like this. Thank you. Thank you for everyone that has supported me and allowing me to do what I need to do to be myself. Thank you.
Hello, everyone. I'm Anna Vallez. Julie asked me to speak here on my experience with welcoming and showing love to the LGBTQ community and to the people in my life. And full transparency, I actually asked if I could do anything for my service learning requirements with my communications class that I'm a part of at CVTC, and she's like, yes, can you do this? I'm like, yeah, okay. No, I don't necessarily have an issue speaking in front of people, but it's new to me in this setting. I first wanted to comment on how love and justice is very prevalent in the words in the order of service that were chosen, either through lighting the chalice or the joys and concerns statement as well. So to share a little bit about myself, I'm the youngest of 4 children. My older sibling is 9 years older than me, and I believe they came out as trans non-binary in 2016, 2017. My brother, right underneath them, is gay. And as a kid, the only grief I had about that was I really wanted a sister-in-law. I'm like, oh my God, another sister. I'd be like, that's great. But as a kid, it was like, no big deal, you know? And my brother underneath Michael, he's nonverbal, highly dependent autistic, so he transcends gender, time, and space just beyond all of us in comprehension. So he's incredible. I remember having a little bit of confusion about the non-binary and calling people they. I felt like it took their identity away from them. But now I realize, as I've grown and come to accept all of the spectrum of gender and people, is that it's actually giving them their identity because they don't feel one or the other. There's a spectrum, there's a continuum of gender, there's a continuum, a spectrum of love that we all share and that we all feel within our hearts. And for me to say that I'm not giving you what you need, this doesn't feel right. It's like, oh, how do I show love and how do I show welcoming to somebody who's in that situation? It's to accept them for who they are and to treat them with where they're at and how they feel. That's something it was a quick little learning curve that I had a couple years ago, but now I have so many friends that I advocate for that don't find themselves to be a man or a woman, and it's a beautiful experience to be able to support those people in my life. Other things that I've had experience with is I'm a hairdresser. I'm currently getting out of the business because I know, tears. I do Jennifer's hair. But just some standing on my feet for long hours is a lot, but I want to be able to help more in different ways. But as a hairdresser, I've had the experience of giving gender-affirming haircuts to young people. Either a woman who is transitioning and never knew how to take care of her hair. So we had to fix some things with her haircut. Or a young gentleman in his teens who realized he's a boy and wanted a really cute boy haircut for the first time. I can give that safe space to people. And I can be that vessel that helps them feel more like themselves in situations like that. And I'm looking at somebody who's referred other clients my way because of this. And it's a lovely experience to be able to be in that position and to love these people fully for who they are and how they want to express themselves based on how they feel. Moving forward, I want to be working in HR. I was thinking social work, and then I'm like, I don't want to take stuff home with me. And I just don't have the ability not to. So I'm thinking HR, and again, with the justice commented on here, I can be somebody who makes a place of business safe for anybody, color, creed, gender, sexuality, anything. I can be that vessel for people, and I can advocate and love those people. And, I think it was, what was the question in your story, or at the end, how do we show that? Is we can advocate, and we can vote, we can be a safe place for people. And sometimes that includes reckoning with our own prejudices. But I've had to learn some welcoming within myself too. Like growing up, youngest of four, like I was an oops baby, literally. I was a post-vasectomy baby, hi. Make sure, anyway, move on. I grew up thinking that really girly things were seen as weak, which inherently is wrong and not true. But it was that internalized sexism that I was spoken to, or I heard from just society, people, those primary groups of socialization when we're younger. And you'll see me with pink frilly, the R in there, pink frilly, like cute shirts in the summer, or with a pink water bottle, and I have like a cute little pink donut on my laptop, and I'm just like, I'm owning it now because I realize like being feminine is not weak. And part of me as a woman, I find some of the masculine parts of myself to be the most feminine parts of myself. My mom always called herself like a mama lion. And what a ferocious, like protective thing to be, right? I find that part of myself to help define my womanhood. And speaking about, holding ourselves accountable with our own prejudices, octopi, we have to reckon with those parts of ourselves too that are judging ourselves that give us the view of other people. It is not unmanly to cry. It is not unmanly to want to wear, pink, speaking of. It is not weak to want to wear cute things. it's empowering to feel like ourselves. And one thing I'd struggled with for a very long time is my own sexuality. And one thing I had to realize is I don't have to define it. And I don't have to explain it. Because for me, it's so fluid. It's not like, I'm straight, I'm bi. If I were to say one of those things, it would feel untruthful. It wouldn't feel authentic. I just know that I'm me. And accepting that has brought me so much peace. And so welcoming within myself, love within myself, is what allows me to be more present for people because I don't have those hurdles in the way. Not all the time. I mean, we all have hurdles. We just have to check ourselves, right? And I'm gonna share a joy. My brother and his husband welcome a baby boy on January 24th into this world. I can't wait to meet him. Their best friend offered to be a surrogate. What? She's like, they're so well deserving of this gift. And I'm like, it's really special. And I will do anything to protect that little boy and to protect my brother, his husband, and my sibling, and David, as I'm his guardian. I literally have that role. But to my queer family, to the people who love queer people, I love you, I see you, and you will always have a safe place here. Really. You will always have a safe place here and with me. And with that, I'll pass. Thank you.
So the title of our service today is So Many Colors in the Rainbow. And we had our rainbow story and lots of sharing today. And on Friday night, I went to the Fireball for the first time. We heard about it in Joys and Concerns. And the Fireball, if you're not aware, is a chance for people to basically, it's like karaoke with a lot of cool clothes. And it's, you have drag kings and drag queens, and also just lovely performers in between. And for me, it was so, it was not only being in a queer space and with allies and hearing so many welcoming messages, it was also just being together. After such a long time, this was the first time it has been held for 3 years. And so for Fireball to happen, people were just so joyful. And it was like a reunion. And outside of the Fireball, I did not see them, but there were apparently preachers who were yelling at people. And preachers is not the best word probably, but there were people yelling at each other. And from what I understand, there wasn't a lot of engagement. And one of the things that happens at a lot of Unitarian Universalist General Assembly gatherings is Westboro Baptist Church will show up, and they have very hateful messages. And the way that we respond is we sing them down. We'll sing, love will guide us, truth has tried us. And so yeah, we'll sing, and they might yell, God hates whatever word you put out there. I don't want to say it too loud. And then we'll just try and sing louder. And, we think about the way in which hate shows up in our communities right now. There are a number of legislations that are affecting trans children. For instance, in Tennessee, they are banning gender-affirming care. I think within the month, maybe. I can't remember. But basically, children are going to be denied the right to be the gender that, it's not done lightly. It takes years, and professionals, and these children and these families are being discriminated against. And we think about, how can we respond? A lot of times we get angry, but I think not only by mobilizing, standing up, and voting, but also responding in a different way. If somebody is a bully, the best way to respond to a bully, like at school or at an event like the Fireball, is not to be a bully back, but to say, you don't have power here. We deny your power here. And to say love lives here. And you can be powerful with your love. You can hold people accountable, and you can say that, that, hey, we don't support that. And so when I think about so many colors in the rainbow, it's about being who we are and feeling loved by being authentic. And to be who you are is a vulnerable place. It's to kind of open your heart a little bit. Yesterday, I was at Louis Higley's funeral, and I was so moved by this family, this big family, and I'm totally jealous. They have so many people in their family and so much love. And the dad of the family, the patriarch of the family, granddad, sadly died recently. And he was such a gentle spirit. He believed in thinking the spirit of an animal that he hunted. He believed in nature and planting trees, and just his son wrecked a van, and he said, that's okay, it's just a possession. Possessions are not as important as people. Instead of getting angry, I would have probably started with the anger, but he was so grateful that his son was okay. And so, anyway, a memorial service is often, in some traditions, is very dour, and they're going to tell you how you're going to go to hell if you don't accept whatever deity they think you should accept. But a celebration of life really breathes life, and it honors that person, who they were. And so a member of this congregation went up and remembered Louis, and she said, these are the stories from my children who are overseas. And she started reading and just started weeping openly. And then one person started crying, and then another, and then another, and then another, because they had permission. This was okay to grieve and to cry and to be present. And then this little kid streaks out and screams in the hallway, and people just who were crying start laughing, and then the funeral continues. But my point is that when we're present to our pain, when we're present to our joy, and when we are authentic with each other, we are broken open. And there's the whole thing of, the places that you're broken open, the light comes in. And, being in spaces that make us uncomfortable, like grief, or like talking about money, there's hard topics. And, being at the Fireball, for me, I was a little uncomfortable. There was a lot of, kind of movement and skin. I was like, is this okay? Is this okay? And, I grew up in South Carolina, and, I didn't have a lot of that. And I'm like, this is awesome. These people are showing who they are. They're proud. And it's what people say is, sex positive. It is showing who they are with all of their joy. And so I just want to say that showing up and pushing ourselves a little is a great chance to grow. And I found myself, not worrying about it and moving, and people in the community were going up and tipping people, and I saw some little grannies, going up and putting the dollars up there, and it was fantastic. It was fantastic. And I also want to say, last night, Rose Kilmurray did a little screening of a film, and she might bring it to the congregation. But this was a film about anti-racism, and it was 2 hours of just unbelievable evidence, unbelievable pain, and yet there was a thread of joy running through it about the speaker that was a part of this film. He was a man who had benefited from an ally. His parents lived in New York, and right after Martin Luther King Jr. died, there was a lot of hope lost. And there was redlining. And if you aren't familiar with redlining, it affected, if a neighborhood had any person that was black in it, it became almost impossible to get mortgages, and the values of your properties went down. And especially they would not sell to people of color. And so in this neighborhood, this man's family had wanted to stay there. They had turned Catholic and converted to Catholicism. And the neighborhood, the builders kept trying to buy them out. And so they said, okay, you can buy me out if you can get me a house in this neighborhood. And they kept going. And they interviewed, 10 times trying to get a house, and they were told, nope. And so a Jewish friend of theirs went the same day and offered a lower price and got the house for them. And then they transferred it to his parents. But that was the only way that they were able to stay in this beautiful, safe area to go to this Catholic school. And he said, my parents were unicorns. My experience, I was just lucky. And he ended up going to Harvard, and he had all these benefits. He said, but that's not the way it should be. How many stories, and then, he showed, people who are shot while being black, who are hurt, and without cause. And we think about, how do we show up? Again, what do we do with so many black lives that are lost? And how do we help people understand that black lives matter? And it's again, it's not letting someone's little side comment, like, oh, well, whatever racist assumption that is, and then, or somebody making an anti-queer joke or an anti-Jewish joke, or ha ha ha, blondes are dumb, and even that's kind of bad too, right? I mean, I think sometimes we don't always, we don't always check our own selves, like jokes that we might have said when we were little. Can be harmful. So to be an ally and to show up and to show love is powerful. And I'm going to close with this last thought. You think about a young girl coming into this congregation, and or a young boy. I know my son Aaron came into this congregation, and last Sunday he went up to Bob and Andy, and he said, "I just want to thank you. I'm gay, and it was really nice to be able to see you and Bob together as a couple when I was little, because I knew it was okay." And he said, "Thank you for being queer representation," because he used this big word. But thank you for being queer representation for me when I was little. And then I think about trans representation in this congregation, and non-binary, and the different beliefs here. You can be pagan or Christian, you can be Jewish, you can not know what in the heck you think, and you're welcome here. And I think to have that open space, it takes work. Sometimes we might disagree on things. Sometimes we might not like to hear the word God. Or sometimes we might really want to hear the word God. We might really want to hear the word prayer. Or we might really want to hear the word Carl Sagan. said in the same sentence. And to create a space that encompasses that many people, oh my goodness, that's fabulous. And it takes a lot of love and a lot of thinking. So thank you for being love in the world. And like what Anna said, I see you and I love you. Thank you.